Welcome to this edition of Mayor's Report Pleasanton. I am your host, former Assemblywoman Catharine Baker, coming to you on my cell phone from my family room during our time of shelter at home and shelter in place. Very happy to be visiting with you today and visiting with the Mayor of Pleasanton, Jerry Thorne. Jerry, it's wonderful to see you, even though we're very much social distancing. How are you?
I'm doing great, Catherine. Thank you.
Good. It's great to see you, and we're going to have a lot of good information to cover in the time that we have during our Mayor's Report today. But I know that you brought a special guest. And as I say, we will certainly be talking about COVID-19 updates for Pleasanton. A special guest that you have today is a part of an association that means a great deal to our Pleasanton community and our local economy. I wonder if you might introduce from the Pleasanton Downtown Association our very special guest today, and we'll chat a bit with her.
Great, Catherine. Yes, we have with us today Tiffany Cadrette. She is the Executive Director of the Pleasanton Downtown Association, and I'm going to let her kind of introduce herself and tell you a little bit about her background and what she's up to now.
So take it from here, Tiffany. We'd love to hear a little bit about that.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me virtually join you guys today. I really appreciate the opportunity to chat with other humans face to face for a bit. I joined the Pleasanton Downtown Association back in 2016. I came from another Pleasanton business. I joined as the events and communications manager, and in August of 2019 became the executive director. So I've had some great experience with the Pleasanton Downtown Association. It's a great organization to be a part of, and I'm really excited to talk with you guys a little bit about that today.
Well, yeah, we're very happy to have you. And of course, these are uncommon times for us, and we'll talk a little bit about what you do in these uncommon times. But just by way of background, when we were living more normal lives, can you tell us a little bit about what does the Pleasanton Downtown Association do? And maybe does it have members? How's it funded? A little bit about the work that they do.
So the Pleasanton Downtown Association is a nonprofit organization. So we partner with the city of Pleasanton a great deal, but we are a standalone nonprofit. We operate as an assessment district. Our main primary goal is to support our downtown Pleasanton businesses and create a vibrant downtown community. That's our main objective as a Pleasanton Downtown Association. A lot of our funding is primarily from our member assessments. We receive city funds as well as sponsorships. The bulk of our funding does come from our events. We're an event-driven organization, so we put on, in addition to the farmers market, every Saturday we hold over 20 events annually, which is typical when we're not in these current circumstances. We do hold events throughout the year that range from everything from scavenger hunts for kids to our concert in the park for people of all ages. We also have our crawls and strolls, which are community favorites, and those are for adults. We have 2 new restaurant events that are really highlighting our downtown culinary landscape, which is ever evolving and has a lot of great options there. So the point of that event is to really introduce our community to our restaurants. And when we are not, in these current circumstances, we have quite a few events throughout the year, and that's where the bulk of our funding comes from.
That's terrific. I've done the ice cream stroll and do highly recommend it. And of course, we're fortunate in Pleasanton to have a vibrant downtown, a very unique, quaint, doesn't quite do it all. It's just such a nice place, and it's good to have an association that's dedicated to its success. Do you have an office? Is it located downtown, and do you have a staff?
Yes, our office.
Other than you?
Yeah, our office is actually located right behind the museum on Main at 333 Division Street. So we're right in the heart of downtown, conveniently located next to the museum, which is where we do a lot of our event start locations. So that's been quite convenient. And we moved there in 2018, and we love our new office. It feels like we're very connected, being right in the heart. Downtown's home to over 550 businesses. So it's great to really be centrally located for all of our members.
Good. And maybe you could say a little bit about, you've mentioned what the association does I want to say in normal times. And of course, there's so many of your events that the community gets to benefit from. Concert in the Park is very, very popular. And of course, the farmers market and otherwise. But in these different times that we have, I'll say COVID-19 times, how is the association adapting, and what is it doing to try to be supportive of its mission and its members?
So we're holding our mission to support our downtown businesses at the forefront right now. Obviously, these are unprecedented times, and we are adapting every day to new regulations that are coming out. And we are just maintaining the support for our businesses in every and any way that we can. Right now, we are really working to promote the businesses that are open and remind people how they can safely support downtown businesses through this. We have many opportunities where people can come and still buy gift cards online, ordering takeout, things like that that are really important to our businesses to help them maintain and survive through this crisis. We have a new website listed on our main page, pleasantondowntown.net. If you go to our main website, we have a link that's right at the forefront of that page, and people can click there and access information on how you can support our businesses through this. And they're working tirelessly. Right now, they are tirelessly working to adapt their business models and really try and be a resource for the community. As the needs of the community change, we see our businesses adapting to that. And it's truly inspiring, the resilience that they're showing through this time.
Good. We're all doing that. Please go ahead, Mayor Thorne.
Tiffany, does that website also give us a list of the restaurants that are doing takeout and or delivery?
Yes, that is a great resource. It has a list of restaurants who are doing takeout, delivery options, as well as our retail businesses that are also offering online shopping opportunities. So that's the best resource we have right now, and we're really trying to drive the community to utilize that. On our main web page, pleasantondowntown.net, you can't miss it. It's right there on the main page. And from there, you can access every business that's open. We're updating it hourly with new information coming in from the businesses and what people can do to really help support them through this.
That's great.
That's terrific. I know some of our downtown businesses that are restaurants also are even doing food delivery and food availability, because they have a supply chain for some essential food items that you might be able to pick up even from your local restaurant. I don't know about toilet paper, but I do know that they have that capability. If there is a downtown, well, I should ask you this, is the downtown, for purposes of your association, defined by any particular parameters? We all have a concept of what that is. There's even some city thoughts on it, but for your association purposes, what would qualify as the area for downtown?
So our membership is made up of the over 550 businesses that are within our district, and our boundaries are to our west, we have Peters Avenue. To our east, we have First Street. And to the south, we're bordered by Bernal. And to the north, we're bordered by Del Val. The Arroyo. So that's any business within that. That kind of paints a little bit of a picture for people. I find it helpful to outline those streets. And that's anybody within that district is part of our association, and they are considered a downtown business.
Well, I also want to ask if there is a business in that footprint that wants to become a part of the association and isn't now. I assume they just go to your website and find out what a membership entails in terms of either cost or benefits that they get. As easy as that?
It's as easy as that. So anyone within that district is automatically a downtown member. So we have a separate page on our website. So it's as easy as going to pleasantondowntown.net, accessing our member page, and then filling out a very simple form, and we reach out and begin the conversation with them and let them know what their benefits are to being downtown and how they can utilize us as a resource. And by being in that district, they are automatically a member.
Terrific. Well, we're thrilled that the work that you're doing in normal times and to be supportive of our very unique and treasured downtown community. And I know it's helping get out the word about how we can be supporting one another and our local businesses in the area. And Mayor Thorne, thank you for inviting Tracy to join us. Tracy, I'm sure we both wish you good health, everyone in the Downtown Association that you work with, health and safety and sanity, and keep walking that dog that you have to stay out there and exercising.
Well, thank you very much for coming on board today, Tiffany. I've really enjoyed hearing what you have to say. I really appreciate some of the things that you're putting out there in terms of where we can get food, where we can get delivered, where we can pick up food, because that's something I'm doing quite a bit of right now.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks again, Tracy. Very good to see you. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back on this edition of Mayor's Report Pleasanton. Welcome back to this edition of Mayor's Report Pleasanton. I'm your host, former Assemblywoman Catharine Baker, and we're back with our wonderful Mayor of Pleasanton, Jerry Thorne. I'm in my family room. Jerry, what room of your house are you in?
I'm sitting in our living room.
Okay, well, looks great, and it's really good to see
all
you.
My grandkids behind me.
That's wonderful. That's a wonderful wall of family. So glad to see that. Hey, we're going to take a moment now after we've had a great visitor, Tiffany from the Pleasanton Downtown Association, to shift gears a little bit and get an update on COVID-19 and for Pleasanton, particularly. Now, since we last visited, the Alameda County Health Department, which really does govern so many of the local do's and don'ts when it comes to shelter at home and in place and COVID-19, just recently issued revised orders for what our lives need to be constrained by and what we're allowed to do for the next several weeks, all the way through May 3rd for now. Who knows what will happen later. And wanted to visit with you first about what, under the revised Alameda County guidelines, has changed for our city government. I know not only the date of the shelter at home was extended, but the definition of essential businesses and services, as well as what's allowed. Can you inform our Pleasanton residents what is functioning at the city government and how will they access those services?
Yeah, well, as you've already mentioned, Catherine, the rules kind of change on us occasionally. We get daily briefings from the president. We get daily briefings from the governor, and now we're getting from the League of California Cities and even New York City. So by the time between now and the time the show airs, it could change. But in any case, let's go back to the original shelter in place order that we had. But we immediately shut down access to all of our buildings for the public, with the exception of the lobby of the police department. So if you can't drop it in a drop box or something like that on the exterior of the building, you really can't come into any of the buildings. And that's to protect our employees and to protect the public. But we also have suspended all of our meetings. The council meetings are at that point in time when it was in the middle of March, when we were going to get out of this. We suspended all of our council meetings, all of our committee meetings, all of our commission meetings, and what have you. And actually, on March 17th, we did have a virtual meeting like we're having now. And the purpose of that was to ratify the emergency proclamation that has to go in place, that had to be ratified by the city council. What it does is it gives the city manager a little bit broader authority to do things that would normally require the approval of the council. So, and as you indicated, we've had that extended by the county up until May 3rd, and we will have to make some determinations on what we're going to do about our meeting schedule. I would suspect that we will go through our agendas and our potential agendas and look for the things that are just absolutely essential that we have to do. I don't think we'll be looking at a lot of things that don't have to get done with a timeline on them. And I would imagine that we will do them the same way that we did the ratification meeting. It'll be virtual meetings. At that meeting, we had 2 council members who were actually in chambers, and 3 of us, including myself, did it remotely from home. And there was a call-in number that people could call into and ask questions or make comments or whatever they wanted to do. That's the public participation part of the thing. But I'm sure that we will have at least one council meeting between now and May 3rd. And
well, good. And if folks want to participate in those, some of our Tri-Valley cities are limiting their agendas to only absolutely essential items and no presentations, but they're allowing for a public comment period. I bet residents can go online prior to the meeting to find out when it is and how they can watch or participate.
Right. We'll put it out on social media. We'll put it out on our websites. It'll probably be in the newspapers because we do have to advertise our meetings in the newspapers.
Right. Yeah. Well, when you mentioned that, so if folks have some services, let's say if you were planning on doing a development application or a permit application, are those services still available online, or are they only restricted to essential functions and essential business?
It's very, very limited, Catherine. We're not,
okay.
We're not, open to doing every single thing that might come along. For example, things that are essential, we might do permits for the tents that they're using at the hospitals and things of that nature. If we have an essential business that has to do something to prepare for this virus situation, we might do it online. But we have the ability to do it both ways.
Okay.
But only
well,
for businesses.
You referred to how we are able to see daily briefings at the national level and certainly at the state level. And both those bodies have passed some legislation and some policies that may affect Pleasanton. Are there offers of support or funding or any efforts that the state has offered to the city of Pleasanton that might be relevant for our residents to know of?
Well, there's very little that they do directly with the city. The state has come up with some things that they're going to do, though. They'll provide assistance to a city that, for example, if you're going to do, if you want to release hotels, for example, to help people that are trying to be quarantined, or people who are homeless who need to be sheltered. The state will help with that. And of course, most of the help is going directly to the employees that have been laid off with the state unemployment insurance. And of course, the feds, they've eliminated the 1-week delay in getting checks out to people. And the feds have added $600 a week to that. So it's going to help quite a bit, I'm sure, with people who've been laid off. And one of the things we're trying to do really is, I think at the federal level particularly, is they're trying to incentivize employers with less than 500 employees to make sure that they keep their employees. And you can do that by going all the way. It's retroactive, actually. I mean, if you laid somebody off as soon as the order came out, you can go back and rehire those folks, and you'll still get that benefit. So I think we're doing as a government, we're doing as best we can to help save people's jobs and homes and what have you.
Well, I know that in future mayor's report for Pleasanton, we'll continue to have updates on COVID-19. I was going to shift to one other topic before we end our time today together, and it's an important one, but anything else on COVID-19 that you want to share with our viewers before I do that?
I think we hit the highlights pretty well. It's really a really involved subject, particularly when I had a conversation with our congressman yesterday. And it's really an involved piece of legislation that requires quite a bit of discussion if you want to hear all of it. I don't think we have time on.
No. Well, that's helpful. These aren't normal times, but sometimes it's good to visit some areas that I want to say were very part of our normal lives. And that was your final State of the City address that you were able to give. And that was not too long ago in time, but it seems long ago in sort of concept. It was a wonderful address, I want to say, and you very well received by a packed room of Pleasanton folks from all across the community. I wonder, in the moments that we have left, if you might say a little bit about what are some of the things you highlighted in there, and we'll also talk about your call to action. But first of all, some highlights from your State of the City.
Basically, we covered our budget situation, what have you. Of course, all that's going to change now that we have this viral situation. But I do want to take the time to do the call to action, because I think we have a lot of talented people that live in our community. And I think a lot of them are kind of like me when I was working for a living. They get in their car, they commute to the Silicon Valley or someplace else, and they come home and they spend their time with their family, and they don't really get involved with the community. But it's pretty easy to do, doggone it. And I think we could utilize those talents. So it could be something as easy as being a part of a parent group within the school district. Or you might want to be maybe a commission or committee at the city level. Might be something you'd like to look into. But whatever it is, whatever your passion is, I would encourage people to get involved, because we can use the talent, and we can certainly use as many folks as we can get hold of to help us get through this, and also in the future when we get back to normal life. There's an awful lot on our plate that we have to make up, because we had a 2-year work plan. And I think some of our citizens could be quite a great help with that. We have police academies, we have everything. If you want to get involved, we'll find something for you to do.
Yeah, and you really had it really truly was a call to action and service to Pleasanton, and in whatever ways works for someone's life and the time that they have and the talents they feel they have, but everyone can do that. And as you said in your State of the City, it helps you feel very much even more rooted in our community, and we get the benefit of those talents. So, well, in the few seconds we have left, announcements to be looking forward to? I know we're in a different time. We're going to keep updating the community in Pleasanton on what's going on with COVID-19 and otherwise, but any closing updates or reminders?
Just one reminder that people need to fill out their census forms, because it means a great deal to the city, and we get funded from the feds that way and what have you. So make sure and do your census forms. You can do them online. They're very easy to do. I've done mine, and it only took about 10 minutes.
Yep, I did mine yesterday, having my morning coffee with the laptop at the kitchen table, and got it all done. And I had to start it over because I misspelled my own name. But we got it all figured out, and it only took 6 minutes after doing that. So very, very important. That's part of how Pleasanton gets some assessments and funding for it for the next decade. So really critical to do. Jerry, it is terrific to see you sort of in person. And I really, really wish you great health and wellness and safety, and looking forward to future Mayor's Report updates with you. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us on this edition of Mayor's Report Pleasanton. Join us for the next episode of Mayor's Report right here on Tri-Valley TV. I'm your host, former Assemblywoman Catharine Baker, coming to you from my family room and wishing you health and safety and wellness in the right now and in the coming days. Thank you, and join us again.